They say if you're a multi-millionaire, you're set for life. Well, tell that to these 5 people who, despite their mammoth wealth, ended up completely broke. Number 5. MC Hammer. MC Hammer has made hundreds of millions of dollars in his career. Unfortunately, he managed to spend it all even faster. When you grow up with less than nothing, quickly earn $33 million from a hit album in the 90s while you're still in your 20s, blow your fortune on not 1 but 2 private helicopters for you and your posse, it's not surprising that you can spend that fortune so fast. Although that was all nearly 30 years ago, Hammer seems to still not have hired an accountant to manage his money, as in 2011 it was reported he owed nearly $800,000 in back taxes to the IRS. Number 4. Scott Eyre. Eyre played for the White Sox, Blue Jays, Giants, Cubs and Phillies before his career ended after 12 solid seasons. What happened with all his money afterwards is probably the most surprising thing he's done. Professional athletes are particularly susceptible to being taken advantage of, losing their millions on scams and bad investments brought to them by friends and family. Scott earned over $17 million in his career up until 2009, but reportedly was left with only $13 in his savings account after being scammed by Alan Stanford in his infamous scheme that cost investors billions of dollars. Number 3. Alan Stanford. Yes, this is the same Alan Stanford who we just mentioned that scammed Scott Eyre. At one point, Stanford was considered a genius and was worth around $2 billion. The SEC started to wonder where Stanford was getting all his money from, and it turns out he wasn't just a genius, but he was also a big-time con man that was taking people for a lot of money. You could say that Alan Stanford's fall from grace was rather abrupt. Where most people just lose their fortune, Mr. Stanford is currently behind bars in a federal penitentiary serving a 110-year sentence for defrauding investors out of more than $7 billion. The gig was up when the company eventually went belly up, and investigators determined he spent the bulk of the money on his over-the-top lavish lifestyle with mansions, penthouses and private jets. In addition to his lengthy prison term, he was also ordered to pay a fine amounting to nearly $13 billion. Number 2. Jordan Belfort. Jordan Belfort was portrayed in the 2013 smash hit movie The Wolf of Wall Street by Leonardo DiCaprio. Belfort earned more money in a year than 99% of people will ever see in their entire lives, seeing an amazing annual income of over $250 million in his early 20s. However, his fortune didn't last long, as investigators found that Belfort's company, Stratton Oakmont, was responsible of defrauding investors of around $1 billion. Compared to Alan Stanford's 110-year prison sentence, Mr. Belfort got off easy with only a 2-year prison term and forfeiture of every single dollar and piece of property he had in his name. He's still hundreds of millions of dollars in debt as a result of a court decision, but is slowly trying to repay that by doing inspirational speaking tours. Number 1. Sean Quinn. Formerly the richest man in all of Ireland, Sean Quinn managed the rare feat of going from a net worth of $6.5 billion to being nearly $4 billion in debt almost overnight. In an unfortunately poorly timed move, Mr. Quinn invested 25% of his family's entire wealth in an Irish bank just before the 2008 financial crisis. This wouldn't have been so bad if he didn't leverage his family's insurance company to make the investment, resulting in both companies and his entire empire collapsing in billions of debt. To help offset some of his newly found poverty, Quinn tried the age-old art of asset stripping. Quinn knew that it was illegal but took the chance anyway. This led to Quinn being sent to jail by a high Irish court, but only for 9 weeks, so it wasn't a terrible idea if you really think about it. Quinn now has to find a way to rebuild his fortune with 5 children in tow. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more awesome lists of all things 5. This is All 5, and until next time, feed your mind.